Well, hello again everybody, welcome back. And today, no picking, but I've had quite a lot of questions about my woodshed, so I thought we'd have a quick look around in here, show everybody what's what. Hope the light's going to be okay in here. So it's actually 16 foot by 8 foot, and we'll start over here with my mortising machine, which is actually on wheels. It's probably more of a two-handed job, but it actually slides out. So it slides out here, so I can get longer bits through the door if need be. We then go on to the actual woodworking bench with most of my hand tools. Got my Japanese saws there. All my stuff for marking out, chisels, Allen keys, more chisels down the back, hammers, mallets, screwdrivers. Then onto my selection of hand planes over there and over here. So quite a few of them. And this is my bench. This is the wood we're going to be using for the lock boxes for the pin makers of the world unite. We've got some nice ash, some American black walnut and some French oak, so we'll get cutting that up soon. Plenty of vices on here, nice big solid vices. So we come over here, and this actually swings round, and we've got on the back router bits and some jigs, and above there we have the air filter, so it filters out all the dust, hopefully. We then have a nice big table here. What I'll probably do is drop this down in a little while, but it's a two-handed job, but it's locked in with that pin, all hinged down, gives a nice big bench there. Then we've got the planer thicknesser, which just slides out into the middle here if needed. We then have the table saw, a nice sliding bit on the side, and on that as an extension to the table we have a router table, but that just pulls straight out into the middle here if needed. And then there's a flap on the back for an outfeed table for when I'm doing bigger stuff. Here we have all sorts of finishes and screws and nuts and bolts. My airline in the corner there. Up in the roof we have all sorts of jigs for the table saw and all sorts of different bits and pieces, stuff for the lathe as well. A steady rest there for the lathe I've made. That there is a 12-inch sanding disc which fits on the lathe. Screws in there. We then have bandsaw in the corner here, which again is on wheels. We'll just actually wheel out of there into the middle of the room if need be. Sanding stuff here. Then we've got my big lathe, and also my little lathe, which mounts onto the bed of the big lathe, if we can see that, and that just sits and lives underneath there when I'm not using it. All the stuff for the lathe, different chucks, chisels. There's a battery powered mask which feeds air for filtration as well. More stuff there, all up in the roof. And then this big case here comes out, and I can set that on the bench. That's got all sorts of different turning tools in there for the lathe. Also got sharpening station for the lathe chisels, all adjustable, different angles. Different grades of paper can go on there, different belts. Works very nicely. That just slides out of the way there. Got dust collection, goes around and connects onto everything, reaches over to the ones over there and onto my mitre saw, which we have here with a nice long table out there for it. We've got drawers under here, so that's all the power tools in there. Then over here we have the drill press, which is a little bit high but it's bigger than the one I originally had. I picked this one up second hand. And all the different drill bits and all sorts of bits on there, battery chargers, my man cave sign. And up in the roof we have clamps galore, clamps up here, clamps up here, and then we've got clamps here, more clamps here, more clamps there, and that is about it. But chainsaw as well for when I'm cutting up the logs outside, and I've got a little hoover under there which I use dust collection purely for the bandsaw. We've got wood storage down here, these are blanks for on the lathe. Loads of wood under there, some nice bits of oak there, and we've got all sorts of wood over here as well. And I think that's just about all it. Lots of little tools I've made, different bits and pieces. So what I'll do, I'll try and set up the camera on tripod and show you how the table works over there, and then we'll get on with trying to make some of the log boxes. So back in a second. Right, so the table here, as I said, we just pull that over, we lift the bolt out of the top and it sets down there. It's a nice big assembly table doing all sorts on there. I use it when I'm on the lathe behind, and when I need the space in the middle of the floor we just wake it back up, stick the bolt in and job's done. And then if I move the tripod over here jiggle it around everything, excuse the jiggling about, and if we get to there, well, the other thing I didn't show was the sanding station on wheels, just sits straight under the bench there, out of the way, and we've got sawhorses, mobile bench there. The mortising machine just comes out. Oh, it's a bit tight, it hasn't been out for a while, but it does just slide out and slide back in. So that's about all of it. So I'll start getting set up and then we'll start making some boxes. So back in a minute. Alright, so hopefully you can see this is the original box I made with the lid there. I'm going to try and make this a fraction smaller and a fraction thinner, just purely to make it weigh a fraction less for postage, but this is effectively the idea we're after. So we'll stick that to one side and we'll start cutting some wood up. So back in a minute. Right, so here we go, 12 boxes, all roughed out. I didn't bother filming any of it because it's so noisy with the table saw going, the dust extraction and the filtration. but I have had a little change of heart because this is an international project, and I actually had English ash and American walnut. We're going to have 6 ash boxes with walnut lids and 6 walnut boxes with ash lids, so make the boxes themselves a bit more international. So the next thing to do, if we look back on the original, is we need to sort out about cutting this out. So I need to make myself a template. We're going to be using this here, which is a bearing guided cutter. So we have a template that is effectively the shape we want. The bearing runs around that and cuts out all the interior. So I shall get that sorted out and then we'll come back. So we need to get those done, fit the lids, which will mean just cutting out a slight recess on the underside and cutting a rebate on the edge of here, so they'll just sit on nice and snug, and then it's just going to be a matter of a lot of sanding and polishing to finish them off. So I shall be back in a little while. Right, so here we are. We have a template. As you can see, it has a lip underneath, so it slots over the top of the base, all held in there nice and tight. What I've done, just a bit of softwood here, just to test before I start on those ones. But we can see this has been cut out exactly the right shape and size for the lock to fit into. So this may be a little bit noisy. I'm going to turn on the filtration and let's see if we can zoom this in a little bit and keep the focus, and hopefully you'll be able to see what I'm doing. So we'll give this first cut, we're only doing a shallow cut to start with, try it and then we'll deepen out, but we shall give this one a go. I need to plug this in. There we go. Make sure we're working. Yep. And then we'll give it the first pass. So if we pop that off there, and as you can see, we've now got our first part. The corners here will just need taking out with the chisel, as we can see, but we shall carry on with a couple more passes. I'll probably bring this one back and show you once I finish this, and the rest of those will have to wait till tomorrow. So I'll get this one done and we'll see how it works. Right, so here we go. This is the first one I will cut out. As you can see, that's where the template sits on top. Got the depths in there and the lock sits in there nicely. So tomorrow we'll cut out the rest of these, then we'll do a little rabbit rebate around the edge of this, similar to the first one, the original, and then hollow out the lid like the original. Bit of sanding, bit of finish, and then they should all be done. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.